Alright, so what we have here is the that CADDX Turd Let that I've been messing with, trying to get to work right. You guys saw my first video. I bought one and it kept locking up, and so with me monkeying around with it, I finally shorted out the board somehow, and it just freaking died out of the box. And to confirm, I bought another. I gave him a second chance. I bought another one, and it's working. So I took the back off of this one and plugged it into the little ribbon cable of the new one, and it did the same thing. And within about 10 seconds, the frame froze. So I know it wasn't something I did wrong. It was this camera right out of the box, never flown. It never left my bench. That being number one. The two cameras that I got, I don't know if you can see down in there, probably not. And I'm not going to touch that lens again, and I'll tell you why in a second. But they have both have different size collars on them. This little tightening collar to hold the lens in place. It's a minor thing, but it kind of tells me the QC and consistency of this camera company when they're sending me two cameras back to back with different size collars on them. And the other thing is this thing is damn near freaking impossible to get focused absolutely right. Like, you can get it focused on things close, but things far away, it only seems to be able to like focus in the middle. Like the lens inside of here, can you see how loose that is? It just wiggles around inside of there like that. See that? So what happens is when I try to focus it, right, then I get it in focus here, and I turn the little collar down to tighten it up. It pulls the lens out because the threads are so loose in there. It took me like forever to even get it close to this lens is completely freaking garbage. This is like the cheapest freaking garbage lens they could possibly ever come up with. And it's, you know, just go the extra freaking few and the other thing is the barrel on this lens is so short. I have like a gazillion aftermarket lenses over here that I tried, but there's no way. The only one that I even got close to coming into focus was a lens out of an old Mobius cam, but then it stuck out like a freaking nautical mile from the end, and if I clip something, it's going to just not only destroy the lens, but it's probably going to snap out of the camera and rip the casing apart and all that stuff. So I haven't found a lens that I can replace this with, but I mean, it is just, it's nothing. It's absolute freaking garbage. China is the land of 70, I call it the land of 75%. They'll make a decent product up until the end and then put something cheap in there to save a few yen because they think manufacturing 1,000 cheap things is better than making 500 quality things. I call it the land of 75%. Like, they'll make a kick-ass jacket that is just warm and waterproof and perfect, and then they'll put a cheap-ass zipper on it. That's what landed me here in China. That's, you know, so that I could push them past that N25% so I could get good product out of here, because before we were getting, never mind, I won't even talk about my business, but anyway, so yeah, so what I did was I put a thicker collar on here, because what was happening with the thinner collar is when I would torque it down, it would actually twist the lens a little bit so that it wasn't direct on the sensor in there. So it would like focus on things close, but then anything more than like 10 feet away and the further away it got, the more blurry it got. And I'll show you in some flight video here. The other thing is I was still getting, even with this new one that actually does work now, I was still getting freeze frames every now and then. And also like the light transition on it is really crappy. I don't know. It's okay. I love this little 3-inch. This 3-inch flies freaking amazing, and I don't want to like lose this thing over like a frame freeze or something stupid like that. So I would recommend, if you're gonna use this cane, it's okay, I guess, for bashing around, as long as I'm like and don't fly in and out of dark places. I'm in a brightly lit, like even the golden hour stuff isn't so good with this camera that I've found. If I'm in the middle of the day, afternoon, brightly lit park, over some fluffy grass in case it freeze frames, I guess it's a decent thing to bash around with. I mean, it's okay. I can look at my own, but the footage isn't really too usable. I mean, it does have, you can turn the saturation and stuff down in it, which is a good thing. And I bet if I could find a decent lens that I could actually get into decent focus with a focus more than 10 feet, that it would probably work pretty decent, because I could turn the saturation down and post edit and make some pretty decent footage out of it. But as it is, with this cheap ass lens in here and the way it freaking wiggles around inside of this case, what happened to me is because it wiggles around inside of this case, I was just barely turning the collar down to tighten it up, because if I turned it down too much, then it torqued the lens, or it pulled the lens out and pulled it out of focus. So then what would happen is I'd fly 2 or 3 packs, and with the vibration, it would just come loose again and be out of focus again. So I was focusing it, trying to redo it in the field like every 2 or 3 packs. But I don't know, maybe others have had better experience with it, but so far that has been my experience with it. Now, like I said, I just did swap to that bigger fat collar in there, so maybe that'll help and hold everything. And I think I got it fairly decent focused here on my bench, but I thought that the other day too. And then I went out to the field and I could see, you know, my hand here, but I couldn't, the tree that was out here was blurry. So let's go to some flight footage and I'll show you what's going on with all that. Alright, so here I am trying to focus this damn thing. Again, you can see my hand really good right there, details in it, but as soon as you look in the distance, it's just a blur. It kind of reminds me of the old, one of my original, like, CIMA X5 with the pinhole 8 megapixel camera. Is what the image kind of reminds me of, where like everything was blurry in the background. And the other thing that would have, you can see my hand perfect, but off in the distance, you can't see nothing. It's just a blurry mess. And what would happen was I'd just have to barely set the lens in there, and then, of course, it would wiggle, not only wiggle out of focus, but then the lens would start wiggling around inside the camera. And, you know, it looked like my quad was, ESCs were burning up, or I had a bent prop or something, because it would be shaking around in the air like it was flying like crap. But I knew that wasn't the case. You can see like every detail on my tattoo. You can see my hand. You can see my radio. But as soon as you look in the distance, it's crap. And like I don't know. I tried and tried and tried to get it to focus on something in the distance, and I just had zero luck with that. And it's got to be that crappy lens. The short barrel on that lens doesn't give you, like, it's like a half a thread where you can get it into focus. Where and look at the light transition on this thing, man. That's pretty freaking horrible right there. So you fly into somewhere dark and then back out into the light, you're not gonna be able to see crap. So yeah, I don't know really. If it had a decent lens in it, it would probably be okay, but I don't know. Okay, you see before I take off here how blurry and everything those trees are until I like fly up to them. And I picked through my footage and found the absolute best one out of them all as I was refocusing the lens. Like, each time I flew almost. And you can see, just look how blurry those trees are. But then when I come up to them, like, I can see everything fine. And it actually looks like I said, like the lens is a little bit sideways, because the left side seems to be more blurry and the right side seems to have a little bit more of a fisheye, I guess. I don't know. It's the combination of that lens being so loose in that case and it just being an absolute crap lens to begin with. If it had a decent lens in it, it would, you know, something that, if it had a little bit longer case, so the lens could have a little longer barrel, it would give you, like, you know, that like half a turn like normal cameras, where you can have that, find that center of the focus. But this thing has to be like absolutely freaking precise. Like, you see me going around the tree here, you can see that tree great, right? It looks good. But look at everything in the background. It's just an absolute blurry mess. Like, as I'm flying up these trees here, they're just a blur until I get up to them. I don't know. I got really incredible eyesight, so I don't know. Maybe somebody with, you know, maybe a one-eyed pilot. I don't know. Anyway, that's my experience with this thing. Like I said, I'll bash it around a fluffy park where I'm not too worried about. But to do anything extreme with this is just absolutely out of the question. You know, like fly a concrete explosion zone where I might freeze frame and smack it into the concrete, or, you know, a bando where I'm in and out of light situations, or actually like anything where I want, you know, good, decent, usable footage. So this is okay. But it's nothing that I would like want to post on. Well, I guess I'm posting this on my YouTube channel, but I wouldn't trust this as like a go-to if I'm trying to capture something. Look how blurry everything was right there when I went up in the air. Just look at it. Everything on the ground is just a blur. So yeah, if I'm flying like a super epic spot and I want to make sure I'm capturing good video to take, you know. Sometimes I stop by somewhere and I one pack it or two pack it because it's a really cool spot. I wouldn't recommend this as a go-to camera, which kind of sucks because I love taking my 3-inch like super portable, super light, small batteries, whatever, just to get a quick. But quite honestly, my Mobius Mini does a way better job, even though it doesn't have the field of view. So anyway, there you have it. Have a good day.
What?